It's hot.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to call our meeting to order, and we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thanks so much. We're all here together tonight. And we're going to move on to 2.1, which is the explanation of the organizational meeting. Mr. Subers?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Pursuant to the school code, the school year, although the school year starts July 1 and ends June 30, every December, the school board is required to reorganize, and that consists of electing a one-term. In addition, because this is an election year, we will be of a temporary president.
And it looks like prior to that, we have 3.1 of public comment. No, not a problem. Thank you. Do we have any public comment in the audience tonight? Anything online? Okay, thank you. So at this time, 4.1 would be a nomination for a temporary president. Are there others? Okay.
In that case, we'd just ask for a motion to approve
Okay.
Ms. McIntyre as temporary president.
Okay, motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay.
All those in favor?
All those in favor? Thank you for guiding me every step of the way. I appreciate that. It's difficult when you do it once a year, you don't remember.
Right.
You know, thank you for your support in that. Thank you. So, let's see, 5.1, the seating of the newly elected board members.
First of all, I'd like to note for the record that District Superintendent Finnerty did receive from the Montgomery County Board of Elections certificates of election for all new board members to be seated. And at this point, I'm not sure who will be doing the swearing in. Would be the temporary president can swear in other, or anyone authorized to administer an oath, but, so that would be a notary public, but for a reorg meeting, the temporary president is authorized to administer that oath. And Ms. McIntyre, do you have that? I have a copy of it if you need it.
Yeah.
Now, if we could ask all the re-elected and new board members to stand up. Do you do it from your seats? You can do it from your seats. Okay, I'm sorry. We can do it from our seats. This is my first Pottsgrove reorg. But stand up and then you can, would you like to do that? Yeah. Okay. No, you don't need it.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now we're moving on to action item 6.1, the nominations for president. Do we have any nominations?
I
Thank you.
nominate Patty Grimm.
Okay. Are there others? Okay.
I would ask for a roll call vote.
Wouldn't we need a second on Patty?
No, you don't need the seconds on nominations.
All right.
Okay, we'll do the roll call vote.
All right, I will need, gonna go just
You can just call.
Around the room.
Yeah, exactly.
and ask for your votes. Just- Tina. Patty. Okay. Chuck?
Patty.
Tanya?
Patty.
Jay? Patty? Tina?
Myself.
I vote for Tina. Bill? Anik? Congratulations, Tina. Vote was 5-4.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to 7.1, nominations for vice president. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Tina.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. I was thinking that's what you are.
I was getting ready to nominate Jay, so, but thank you.
Are there others? Okay, we have Jay and Jim.
No, I'm not.
You decline?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sensible, thank you.
All right, we're gonna do another vote. Chuck? It's Jay's the only name.
There's
There's only one
only-
candidate, I thought.
So, just so I'm clear, is it, who has been
Jay.
nominated? Jay. Okay, there being only one nomination, I would just ask for a motion to appoint Mr. Strunk as vice president.
We have a motion to appoint Mr. Strunk as vice president? Yes? Okay,
Second?
wonderful.
Second.
Okay.
All those in
All
favor?
all those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Strunk, as vice president. Thank you. You're welcome.
You hit that one,
Okay.
okay? If you want to turn somebody off,
Thank you all for your patience as we change our seats and move our computers around and all of that good stuff. Moving on to 8.1, which is the Western Center Joint Operating Committee members.
Well, it looks to me that Ms. Grimm's term is expiring, so minimally, that either we would reappoint Ms. Grimm or appoint someone else for that position. Mr. Schrunk's position and Mr. Nippert are still, their terms do not expire to 2024 and 2025 respectively. So if they are both willing to continue their service, the only issue would be whether, the position currently held by Ms. Grimm, which terminates this month.
For that.
Yes, it's up to the board whether or not they wish to reappoint or if they want to open it up for other nominations.
Thanks, that's exactly what I was going to do. Yeah, I definitely second.
I was just gonna open it up to see if anybody else was interested in the position. No? Okay.
I still want it?
Okay.
I figured as much, but, you know, just.
Okay, so motion to appoint Patty as the MCIU, Western Center, JOC. And do we have a second?
yes.
Great, okay. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Thank you, Patty. Next, the MCIU Legislative Liaison. Dr. Nippert currently holds this seat.
I like reappointment.
Okay, do we have a second? Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nippert. Next, PSBA Liaison. And again, Mrs. Grimm holds this seat.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. I move to
Again,
appoint her.
can we just
Yes, for
open
sure.
up and just see if there's anybody else who would want these positions?
Yeah.
Maybe there's not, but I'd just like to give everybody a chance.
Mhm. Are there other nominations? Okay.
So we would need a motion to reappoint.
Okay, we need a motion to reappoint Mrs. Grimm.
Make a motion that we reappoint Mrs. Grimm.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, the committee appointments. So we have some new members here with us tonight, both of whom are very familiar with our committees. And just encourage everyone, rather than choosing tonight, take some time, look at the committees, see what you might be interested in serving on, and then reach out to me and let me know, and we'll go ahead and get some committees assigned for everyone. And as most of us are familiar with, you can attend the meetings all that, as many as you wish. So everyone's encouraged to attend, but the committees in which you want to be appointed to, just let me know your interest in those.
No,
And we can
right,
report
because
back
it's
after
just,
that.
Just from the new members or from all?
Just for review. It
From
says that
everybody,
in the
too. That'd be
minutes.
great. Yeah, thank you.
The one that I'm interested in is the recreational board that I've been a part of.
Mhm.
The citizens position is in question, because her schedule, she cannot attend any meeting, so we might have to seek out to find a citizens position for that, for the board.
Okay. Okay, we're moving on to 10.1, which is comments from our board. Does anyone have any comments with regard to tonight's reorg meeting? Okay, moving on to 10.2, comments from the superintendent.
Congratulations to our newly elected board members and to our new leadership. And thank you for your service.
Thank you. We're moving on to 10.3, which is public comment. Do we have any comment tonight from the audience with regard to the reorg meeting? How about online? Okay. Again, thank you for enduring that. It's, as I said, we do it once a year, and it requires a little bit of extra hand-holding, and thank you for providing that tonight. It was
My
very
pleasure.
much appreciated. Okay. So at this time, I need a motion to adjourn the reorg meeting.
Motion. Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Great. We're going to begin the typical meeting now. Thank you. Okay, welcome to the school board meeting of this evening. Call to order. Yeah. And now we do the Pledge of Allegiance once again. Thank you. Thank you, and we're all here together tonight for the roll call. 2.1, we will be having an executive session after this meeting to discuss personnel matters. We're moving back to public comment. If anyone wishes again to have a comment from the audience, I don't see any. How about online? All right. Okay, this is a great part. 4.1, Pottsgrove High School Chamber Choir.
Hi, at this time, it is my honor and privilege to introduce Ms. Amy McMahon and the Chamber Choir, who will be singing, I think, 2 holiday songs for us. The high school band, orchestra, and choir concert will be held this week on Thursday, December 7th at 7 p.m. at the middle school auditorium. So welcome, concert choir. We're very much looking forward to this.
Pottsgrove tree-lighting ceremony on Friday, so that was open to all of our choir members, but the majority of chamber did come, as well as some others. And we're gonna do 2 selections for you. We're going to be doing both that are part of our concert on Thursday, this coming Thursday, December 7th at 7 p.m. So the first you're gonna hear is O Magnum Mysterium, which is a song in Latin. It's actually from the 1400s. And talks about, in Latin, the nativity scene and the wonder of the nativity. And then the second selection we'll be doing is Wayfaring Stranger mashup with Carol of the Bells, which is a traditional Ukrainian carol, made famous by the BYU choir. Are we ready? Bend your knee. All right, so we're doing Omar, you first. Do your name and your voice part and your grade.
My name is Zachary Gomez. I'm a senior, and I was a bass, but for this specific chamber choir piece, I was beatbox.
Excellent.
My name is Nicole Lockey. I'm also a senior, and for one song I was alto, for the other I was second soprano.
My name is Alexis Kummer. I'm a sophomore and I'm a soprano.
My name is Emily Gomez. I'm a junior, and I'm soprano 1 and also sometimes soprano 2.
I'm Rowan Hudson. I'm a senior and I'm soprano.
I'm Savannah Van Horn. I'm in 11th grade, and I'm a soprano and also a soloist.
I'm Katie Reitmeyer. I'm a senior and I'm a bass 2.
Hi, I'm Landon Conrad. I'm also a senior and also a bass 2.
I'm Michael Kaczynski. I'm a senior and I sing bass 1.
I'm Rocco Spinozzi D'Andrea. I am a senior and I'm tenor solo.
I'm Zachary Lipsky. I'm a tenor 1 and a soloist.
Hi, I'm Ethan Chambers. I'm a junior and I am a tenor and also a soloist.
I'm Addie Fulmer-Sicker. I'm a senior and I'm alto 2.
I'm Lindsay Palmer. I'm a sophomore and I'm alto 1.
Thank you, and let's, what do you say we pack the auditorium on Thursday? Oh yeah, you guys were fantastic. Thank you very much.
Start your music behind on the floor.
That was absolutely incredible. Thank you so much, and thank you for coming and presenting. Just amazing. And I loved his light up shoes were fantastic. I love it. All right. Oh, it's hard to go on with the rest of the meeting. So 5.1 is the December student report. One good thing after the next.
Well, I'm not going to break out into song because none of you want to hear that. So I think I'll just speak the board report. So that sounds better. Good evening, everyone. I hope you all had a nice break. I know I did, but I'm also happy to be back with you and in my school again. Tonight's report is going to start with the Winterfest that the high school is holding at the high school for elementary school students in our community. I'm actually working this event, but somebody decided I would give a little synopsis of what's going to be there, and if anyone in the community is interested in bringing their kids, they can be more informed. So this event is run by student volunteers and will include many activities. Some of the activities students can enjoy is going to be a bake sale, face painting, gingerbread house making, watching a movie, and many games for students to play. There's also going to be refreshments and a popcorn station. Winter sports also began practices this week. I know I switched topics really quick, but Cecilia's going to talk more about the Winterfest later. The boys basketball team had their tip-off tournament this past weekend, and I'm pretty sure they went 2-0. That's what I saw, so I'm going to go with that. And I mean, yeah, I don't think they'd lie to me. And then the wrestling team had a match. I know that as well. Winter sports are picking up for everyone, and we're beyond excited to continue to support our Falcons. To wrap up Homelessness and Hunger Awareness Week, before break, PGHS did a donation drive and collected items such as toiletries, snacks, and winter apparel, and clothes for the homeless. At Pottsgrove Middle School, a food drive was done for the community where community members in need were able to come to the library during conferences and get food and other items if they needed it for Thanksgiving or just in general. Before I wrap up my report, I want to give a shout out to my fellow seniors who recently announced their commitment. Mr. Onzak was in charge of that, but I did see it, so congratulations to them. I wish them the best of luck in the future with all the rest of their endeavors, and that's all for me tonight. I'll let Cecilia handle the rest.
So she kind of covered Winterfest, so I'm just going to skip half of my paragraph.
NHS is going to begin selling candy grams as we get closer to the holiday season to allow PGHS students to spread love and cheer to their fellow classmates. Each candygram that is bought will either include a Hershey Kiss or a candy cane wrapped in a bow and will be specially delivered to the student it was intended for. For example, if I bought a candygram for Emily, in order to brighten up her day for only $1, they'd deliver it to her. Student Council is also bringing back Pottsgrove elves. These elves collect barely used and new products for Pottsgrove families in need. We'll take all donations, wrap them, and send them to families in need to spread holiday cheer and to hopefully alleviate some of the holiday stress. Varsity and JV basketball teams are beginning their season, which means the cheerleaders are also starting their season. As sports begin once again, the excitement builds as new teams work together to build something strong and grow as a team to allow themselves to persevere through all athletic challenges they may face. However, not only basketball season started, but so did winter track and field, unified bocce, which is not mentioned enough, coached by Miss Scott, and swim, coached by Mr. Hughes. To wrap up my report, I'd just like to highlight the fact that Pottsgrove as a whole does a lot for those in need during the Christmas season. And as a student here, I love to apply myself to helping others and remind myself what the holiday season is truly about. And because of the opportunities here that allow me to do that, every Falcon this month will feel some sort of gratitude and cheer, whether it be from receiving a tiny cranogram or donating to Pottsgrove charities.
Thank you so much for sharing and for creating the reports for us each month. Moving on to 6.1, report of the superintendent.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to turn the report of the superintendent over to our business administrator, Ms. Deb Clayhold. She's going to share some information and a brief presentation about our bond issue.
Hey, good evening. So I'm going to go over, we had to go out for a rating. We weren't rated. We didn't have a credit rating done recently. So on the advice of our bond counsel, we went out to Moody's. You can go to the next slide then, Chrissy. On this slide, it shows the different rating scales that Moody uses, S&P uses, and Fitch. Some of them use like different codings, but we came in at a AA2, which is a very high grade. We did extremely well on our Moody's rating. Okay, next slide. These are some of the credit strengths. I'm just going to summarize the credit strengths that Moody presented in their total report. The total report is attached for your review, but this is some summary of highlights. Some of the reasons why we scored so high was that we have a history of surplus operations resulting in steady growth of reserves. This is what the credit agencies like to see. What that means is each year, I know the board doesn't like to set taxes too high, but you just want to set them high enough. And what Moody's likes to see is that you have excess revenues each year over your expenditures when you budget. I know it's a fine line and you want to kind of come as close as you can, but they like to see that steady growth of revenues over expenditures. So that's one reason why we did so well in our rating. Another reason was our healthy cash and available fund balance matrix. What they do is they look at your fund balance, compare that to your annual revenues. And typically, they like to see 20 to 25% fund balance of your total revenues. So over year, they don't like to see your fund balance staying steady and, of course, your revenues increasing each year. They like to see that fund balance increasing with your revenues each year. And the third reason why we had such good credit strength is our long-term liabilities are a lot lower than our peers. Next slide is our credit challenges. Some of the challenges that we face, which are out of our control. A lot of these challenges are the reason why I don't think the district that Pottsgrove is ever going to be a AAA rating at the very highest is because there's so many things out of our control. Right now, we do have a declining enrollment trend. And the other reason is our property wealth matrix is below the average relative to other peers, because they're going to look at us compared to other school districts. Our district does not have a lot of businesses, you know, that we can get revenue, tax revenue from, unlike other districts, you know, down King of Prussia, you see the malls and all the apartment complexes going up. So, you know, it all depends on what our growth is and what we see in our area. So here are some factors that could lead to an upgrade in our rating. I think we're at a high rating. I'm not sure if we'll ever get any higher than what we are. We did extremely well. If we had a significant improvement in our property wealth, if we saw a lot of growth in our area, that could lead to an increase in our rating. A positive change in enrollment trends, if that went up significantly. Material sustained improvement in our reserves and our liquidity. I think we're at a really good place right now as far as our fund balance compared to our revenues. Then there are factors that could lead to a downward trend in our grade. It would be our failure to maintain balanced operations, resulting in material draws on reserves. So if we had a year where our revenues did not exceed our expenditures and we would have to use up some of our fund balance money, that could lead to them downgrading us. Significant contraction of the economic base and deterioration of resident incomes. They look at our residents, our average mean income for families in our area. I mean, that's out of the school district's control, but these are things that they take into consideration when they rate us. And if we had a material increase in our long-term liabilities. So these are all factors that we should all take into consideration in case we would ever have to go out, and we have that 10-year capital project, and we're looking at doing more projects. So when we go out for more bond issues, these are things that we have to consider down the road. So overall, I was extremely happy. Bond counsel was extremely happy. PFM, everybody was very happy that we came in at that double A2. And based on like the factors that I indicated, you know, I don't know that we'd ever get above that just because of the district and the businesses and things out of our control. I do want to talk about the bond results that we had. PFM, they went out for, in the open market to solicit bids. Somewhat like if you want to go out and shop, you know, different mortgages, that you would go out and shop at different banks. This is kind of like, I don't know if you're betting on eBay or whatever, going out. People are betting to buy your bonds. So we had very, very good results. As you can see here, the bond was for $9,995,000 because we wanted to stay underneath that 10 million mark. So we actually, our bonds sold at a premium. There was a bidding war, actually a bidding war going on, that people just wanted to buy our bonds. They were ecstatic that they had all these, they were watching it, and you know, you keep having a company would come in and bid, and then someone come in and bid lower and then bid, and it was like a bidding war going on. So they were very pleased with our AA2 rating, and they were, like I said, they wanted to buy our bonds. So we actually got them. Our bonds sold at a premium. So what that means is, you know, we're going to get $9,995, $87.10, whatever. But anyhow, we only have to pay back of that $9,995,000. We will only be paying back a principal amount of the $9,690,000. That's what that means. They sold at a premium. Okay. The next,
That's in anticipation of a decline in interest rates.
yep,
We're doing this at the right time.
yep.
Macroeconomic.
Yes, yes, we are. This is just the top bids that went on. Janney Montgomery Scott came in first. They were the #1 bidder. But as you can see, they came back and they bid 7 times. You can see some of the other banks were bidding 13 times. There was a ton of banks just out there bidding to get our bonds. So the true interest cost that Janney came in at is our bonds at 3.754183. That's how close they get when they start bidding. And the next slide shows, this just shows our bond payment schedule that we came up with. I know it's kind of small, but you can probably see on your screens a little bit better. This is typically how bonds are normally structured. There's not a lot of principal that's paid back early on, the early years. And the reason why they have this type of schedule is so they take into consideration all the other bonds that you have and you have to pay, so they kind of make our bond payments that they're equal. Like, we didn't want to see like a huge swing, like you don't want to raise taxes one year to cover a huge swing because your bond payments went up $1 million or $2 million. You want to even that out so that your total price that you're paying all your bonds back remain kind of steady over the years. And the next page is just, you saw this schedule before, but this schedule, when PFM did their presentation originally, this was the schedule that they presented, just based upon our 10-year capital plan. You know, if you would approve to do any more capital projects, like after next year, if we'd go move on to the middle school and so forth. These are the different bond issues and potentially how they would be structured. And you can see in that far right column, this is how they structure the bonds so we can stay pretty even with our bond payments through the years.
And if I can just clarify, so this is a projected bond program over a number of years. The actual that we've currently incurred is the black to the left, and this bond issue is the first yellow column. So that's what the district is currently actually owes. I just want to clarify that. Everything to the right of that is theoretical.
Yep, nothing's been approved yet on those columns. Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
So what is the interest? This is a non-financial person here who's.
That 3.7, that's, they average it over the.
Is that anything that can change over the years? If interest rates were to come back down to where, they probably never will. But
They probably never will. They say this is a really good time.
Okay.
And another thing that really helps us is we're earning more interest, and they have to watch what they call arbitrage, the interest arbitrage. But when we get the bond payment, we're supposed to settle on the 21st of this month, get the $9,995,000. We can invest that until we start drawing that down. If you remember when PFM presented, we have within a certain period of time to start drawing down the money. What we're going to do is we're going to invest that money, gradually. We're going to put together a schedule, and right now we can earn 5.5%, and we're only paying back this 3.7. So we're getting more interest than what we're paying. But you have to watch. You can't borrow money to earn more interest just to get the interest. You have to have legitimate projects, and you have to show that you're making payment on that.
And if I can also ask this clarifying question. So as with our earlier bonds, to your question, once the call date comes, we can actually potentially renegotiate, and just what we've done with our current bonds.
Yeah, you can.
I mean, we're at 0.8 on one of them and 1.4 on something.
Right.
So we have very We've gotten excellent guidance, and the board has taken great action to have our current debt structure to be very cheap.
Yeah, because it was refinanced to get the lower interest rate.
That's
If we would
kind of where I
ever
was
see-
going with
yeah,
that.
If we would ever see those rates again, I mean, you don't know, nobody knows what the future is. We'd all be rich if we could predict what the future holds. But if it would ever go that low, you could do a bond refinancing.
Would you remind us of the time frame that some of these drawdowns have to take place?
A certain percent within the first 6 months, and then you have like 3 years. But our project's going to be done next summer.
Okay, that sounds great, thank you. Are there any other questions with regard to the bond or the presentation? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to 7.1, approval of monthly board action minutes.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve 7.1.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve 7.1. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving to action items, personnel, 8.1.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve personnel 8.1 through 8.12.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any, we did have a second. Mhm. Are there any questions with regard to any of the action items? Sure.
I'd just like to thank Julie Kovich, who's been our middle school secretary forever, an alumni here, her kids went here, so I wish her nothing but the best.
Thank you.
I
Any
just
other
want to,
questions?
just real quick, I believe that, if I'm correct, I recognize the name of the long-term substitute as being a Pottsgrove student. I think she was Riley's age. They played softball together, I do believe. So if that is the case, that's awesome.
All right, are there any other questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Motions pass, 8.1 through 8.12 approved. Moving on to 9.1, payment of the bills for the month of December.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve 9.1.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve 9.1. Is there any question with regard to that action? Hearing none. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to action items 10, education.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve 10.1 through 10.3.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve 10.1 through 10.3. Are there any questions? Hearing none. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. 11.1, approval of policies.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve 11.1.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve 11.1. Are there any questions? Hearing none. Sorry?
I'm confused. Did we skip? We have student teacher.
Are there any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to 12.1, the MCIU board update.
Have it right here. So our meeting was on 11:15, and so really the biggest thing that we talked about, and that was in the presentation in the very beginning of the meeting, was given by Sandy Edling. She's the CFO and director of the Office of Business Services. So there's a new project that the MCIU is looking into starting, and they're kind of mirroring something that North Penn is already doing. So what they want to try to do is place medical clinics throughout the county that could serve teachers, staff, and families. And it would be specifically for that group of the community, so that if, you know, a teacher needs a physical for something, they don't have to take a day off. They don't have to take a personal day, or, you know, whatever it's called at this point. They could make an appointment at the clinic, which would be nearby, and they were talking about like spacing them throughout the county, so they would be close enough to, you know, any of the school districts, and have it staffed, and it obviously accepts the insurances of the schools, and then the teachers can more easily, and staff and all that, and their family can more easily schedule appointments, and it will easily work around the school schedule. So they're looking into that. Like I said, North Penn has something going like that right now. So they're using North Penn as kind of a, you know, an example of what they'd like to do. And they did talk about putting one in Gilbertsville, just an FYI. Of course, it has to be on the Montgomery County side of Gilbertsville. But anyway, but that's all preliminary. The rest of the meeting was just kind of business as usual, every department reporting out on certain things, and that was really that was the biggest thing I wanted to share with you guys. I thought it was kind of cool, and it's all done with the staff and teachers and stuff in mind. So
I've actually went to North Penn and toured it, and I've been included in all those meetings. They have evergreens. So the reason why it works for North Penn, and we have to be careful on whether it would work for us, the reason why it works for North Penn is the fact that the clinic is right there in their district. Actually, it's right next to their middle school. So how it works is, instead of paying a copay to go to your doctors and have a doctor's visits, they would go to the clinic and have a doctor's visit and not pay any copay. So they're trying to get everybody to go there. The thing with North Penn is very large. North Penn spends a lot in medical cost. So it benefits them because they built the building and they pay for the staff. So they're thinking they can recoup $1 million a year to actually pay for it every year, medical cost, if they can get, family, their staff and their family to go there. One thing that the superintendent has said is that instead of getting subs for someone to go to the doctor's office, if a teacher makes or anybody makes an appointment, you will cover their room. You will find coverage for a half an hour or an hour and not have a sub to go there. So that's saving them money also. But like I said, it is right there. The thing with going in with CPAST, our consortium, they're trying to look at strategically placing these clinics places. But then again, we would have to put out the money to pay for these buildings to be built, or to buy one or rent one and renovate it into a doctor's office. But North Penn has seen success with it. They're looking at expanding it and adding more doctors because they are booked solid. And they have lab work, and they're starting to look at getting more x-rays machines and everything else there too. So.
yeah, they did say, I don't remember who it was, whether it was the North Penn school board member, but did say that it can be 3 months before you get in now. And I'm sure one clinic for the entire school district could definitely end up that way. But I'm anxious to see where it goes. There's definitely enough empty storefronts and buildings right now out there. Commercial real estate isn't exactly doing well at the moment. So there's a lot of that and a lot of deals in rentals and stuff. And I know their real estate department is excellent at sniffing out the best deals for things like that. So who knows? It would be nice for the teachers and stuff. So We'll see.
I just have a quick question. What about the funding for that? Where does all the funding come from?
The district.
So we like the school district, so it's a school district, so taxpayers will have to, yeah, okay.
But keep in mind, at the same time, while funding it, we're also, like Deb was saying, you know, there's this, the benefit of not having to bring in substitutes, not having sick days and stuff in certain cases. And then it's also going to allow the teachers to actually use their day off as a day off and not taking a day off just to go to the doctor.
I was going to say that Exeter has a similar program, but theirs is done through St. Luke's, and they rate about like a 2-3 minute drive from the high school and the admin and middle school. But yeah, that's St. Luke's is who then funds that particular one because it's a business for them. So, but they don't do any copay for any family members as well. So, and they also have psychiatric services for, you know, which is.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions with regard to that MCIU update? Okay, thank you for reporting out. Next up, we have committee items 13.1.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes of 13.1.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve 13.1. Does anyone have any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? 13.1 passes. Moving on to 13.2, Operations Facilities Committee Meeting Report.
Oh, all right. The Operations Committee met on November 9th. Our primary business was a new fencing contractor for the fencing around Ringing Rocks Playground. We had to reapprove a new contractor. The original contractor's bid was in error. They didn't count the correct area or the correct length of fencing, so their contract was voided, and we issued a new contract that was approved. Just to give you an update, the Ringing Rocks fencing is, I believe, finished, and the fencing, similar fencing at West.
No, West is finished. Ringing Rocks is going to go in probably January 1st.
I knew I was going to do that. Okay, so I said it backwards. So anyway, West is finished, and Ringing Rocks will start depending on the weather. You know, so anyway, that's the status of that program. So basically, that's it. Are there any questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nippert. Moving on to 13.3, Athletics Co-Curricular Community Relations Committee Report.
Well, we had a wonderful meeting on November 14th, and at this time I would ask Mr. Ansbach and Danielle to come and shout out.
All right, well, thank you for bringing us up. The committee met on November 14th. We did a quick recap of our fall sports programs. We highlighted sophomore Elsa Lucas, who was on our cross-country team that finished 9th in the district championships, qualified for states at Hershey, and finished in 69th place. Also highlighted our football program, who qualified for districts, played Bishop Shanahan in the semifinals down at Bishop Shanahan. And unfortunately, we came up short, lost by 1. They scored with about 2 minutes left and went for 2. Also highlighted some of the great community service projects we did throughout the fall, which included our annual First Responder and Military Appreciation Night, our Homecoming Bonfire and Student Activity Night, which is always a highlight for our students. Also a community-based activity because our fire departments at Saratoga and Ringing Hill come down and support us. Our Penk Out Night, which Mrs. Grimm mentioned in a previous board meeting, we had a fall sports toiletry drive in support of God's Kitchen. One of the things we also recently did was our 13th annual, and I know Mrs. Eaton's back there, and she was part of that, but the athletic department now took over the 13th annual Toss Your Turkey 5K at down at Montgomery Community College in Pottstown, right on College Drive, and we had 600 registered runners. So we're fortunately going to be able to give out about $4,000 or a little over $4,000 to community outreach programs, which we're really excited about. Our goal is to get to 700. I'd like to see 700 next year. So if any of you are interested in running or walking, this is a promo right now that our goal is 700 in 2024. I also brought up to bring the attention of the board, I have 4 service learners, something that we started about 3-4 years ago. Started with 1, then I went to 2, and now we're at 4 service learners within the athletic department, student service learners, and they come to us throughout the day. One of them was Ethan Chambers, who was a soloist, so they're involved in a lot of different activities, which is great. And they help me with social media contact. They run our Instagram account called Falcon Flicks, which one of our students named. They do our graphic design flyers, our promotional material, our score reporting on the website, our game day setup, and even Ethan Chambers is working on a future newsletter. A lot of it's student-driven, and a lot of it is, seeing what sometimes a lot of people just show up and say, oh, this is great, there's an athletic event, but what does it look like on the back end? And our service learners get a hands-on opportunity on a daily basis. And I'm grateful for them because I get to work with students on a daily basis. On the co-curricular end, our marching band was here, and we talked about them, so shout out again to them on winning the Cavalcade Band Championships on Saturday, November 4th. Thanks to the board and the school district, they will be getting championship jackets coming soon. They were ordered, so I know they're going to be proud and get to walk around the school district and the high school wearing their championship jacket. And with that, I do want to give another shout out to our local fire department. On a whim, and I shared this with the committee, I made a phone call at 2:30 or 3 o'clock when I heard our band won, and asked if we could get some support in the parking lot when they returned. And by 6:15, we had 9 fire trucks in our parking lot welcoming our marching band. So when we talk about a strong community, that's a great example of the partnerships we have. So shout out to all of our fire departments at Ringing Hill, Saratoga, and at Upper Pottsgrove. We also highlighted our high school orchestra program. They perform with 80 of the best orchestra students from 11 different high schools across Montgomery County. And the last thing that we talked about was student participation. We wanted to get like a baseline of what our current student participation was at the elementary level and the secondary level. So what we did last year was we reached out to all the building principals at each of our school districts and asked them to record the data of all of our extracurricular programs and how many students participated in them. So we could see, one, how many students do we have involved within our school district and within our respective buildings, and 2, it'll give us an idea to reach out, how many kids are we missing, how many students are missing, and what can we do to get them involved? Because as we know, if they're involved in extracurricular activities and doing things outside of the classroom, 1, they're not getting in trouble, but 2, they're building relationships with staff, which hopefully encourages our culture within our school district. So we were able to do that. I reported that out to our committee, and gives us another goal to improve participation, and I think we're doing that right now, so I'm encouraged to see what our numbers look like after this school year. I'd like to turn it over to Mrs. Sobolski for Community Relations.
Hello, everyone. At our committee meeting, excuse me, I updated the committee about the YMCA and Pottsgrove School District partnership for before and after care. I'm sure most of you probably remember Dr. Finnerty mentioning this towards the beginning of the school year. We're finally able to get the ball rolling on this. This information was sent to parents in Dr. Finnerty's latest blog. And in the blog, there was a link to a page on our website, which lists all of the information that parents might need. Once enough parents call that
they're interested, and this is for West, Rocks, and lower students, so all of our elementary schools. Once the Y sees that there's enough interest, which they told me would be about 12 students per school, then they will go ahead and the program will begin. The Y will contact those parents that are on the wait list and let them know that the program is ready to start. So if anyone is interested in that before and after care with the YMCA, please look for Dr. Finnerty's blog, which again will have the link to our website with all the information. Next, I shared with the committee that the Pottstown Regional Public Library, which again, we have talked about this prior, we partnered with them to issue ID cards to our students so that they can go and check out books at the library with the student ID cards. As of now, our high school and middle school students have their cards. We're still waiting for the elementary students to have their cards issued, but that's just another great partnership in our community that we have with our school district. At our committee meeting, we also spoke about beginning an Alumni Hall of Fame, which Mr. Leach had brought up a couple board meetings ago. We wanted to make sure that there was a differentiation between this new Pottsgrove Alumni Hall of Fame and the already existing Athletic Hall of Fame. So the committee had a nice discussion about this, and what we feel comfortable with at this point moving forward is having maybe a small ceremony breakfast with the recipients and their families, but then getting the students involved. So having the presentation of their awards at an assembly, probably at the high school, and hopefully maybe we could try to live stream or record the ceremony and share it with the younger buildings so that they're involved as well. So the next steps would really be to come up with bylaws, a selection committee, which we love the idea that students would be a part of that selection committee. And we would also need to come up with a nomination form, which I do have some drafts of that, but that's going to have to be really fine-tuned and looked over before we officially move forward with this. But this way, it's not an exact replica of the Athletic Hall of Fame. We do want to, keep those a little bit separate. I gave an update about our district social media accounts, and this was back in mid-November, so at this point, there's been a lot more accomplishments and achievements posted on our social media, but at the time, we did highlight all of our senior nights, our cross-country districts, which Steve just talked about. We had a lot of Halloween celebrations, and this year, all of our buildings were allowed to dress up, which was really fun to see. In addition, of course, Ringing Rocks had their annual Halloween parade, posted a lot about homecoming, and there was one academic post that stood out the most, which was Mrs. Rads Willis. She's a first grade teacher at Rocks. She does a pumpkin math activity every year where she has a couple parent volunteers come in and work with different groups of students, and it's like incorporating fun Halloween activity with math. They measure the pumpkin, count the lines on the pumpkin, weigh it, and all that fun stuff. So the students really liked that, and so did our community. I also reviewed the results of our community survey that we put out on Election Day in early November. The amount of responses was a little bit underwhelming. So we brainstormed some ideas that might be able to help us get more responses for next year. Some of the suggestions were maybe additional signage, putting the survey maybe in a more prominent space. So we can definitely look into that to draw people's attention more to it. Also, suggestions were altering a few of the questions. Maybe that might help garner more interest in participating in the survey. So those are all things that I am going to take into consideration going into next year for next year's survey. I think that's it. Yeah. Oh.
And this is just a quick promo. Last night, and Dr. Finnerty had it in his blog, the elementary had the band, orchestra, and chorus performances. It was standing room only. The place was packed. We might have to think of people in the parking lot to help park cars next year, but it was packed to, like, a lot of people were there. High school is this Thursday. Obviously, you see all the talent from tonight, so I'm excited to see that. And the middle school will be next Thursday, December 14th. So promo to them. You can see they're working hard and excited to see their performances from all their efforts over this school year. So that concludes our report.
Just one thing I want to add. At the end of the meeting, I brought up that we would like to discuss the new market money. I'm not really sure how that's run anymore. You know, how it all comes in with sponsorships, who approves what does the school pay for, what does everybody else pay for. So that would be something that we want to start through the athletics, just to make sure we are all on the same page on how this money is distributed amongst for our students. So, you know, it's not a budgetary item. I mean, this is when we get the sponsorships. And we just want to make sure we fine tune. So like I said, it's transparent for all of us to understand where the money comes from and what really the use is for. Like I said, who votes on it, who nominates it, because I think we've gotten a little away from that. So we're going to be bringing that up in our next meetings. But thank you guys very much. And congratulations to Danielle. She just got engaged.
Congratulations, and thank you for reporting out. We are moving on to 13.4, which is the Policy Committee report.
Good evening, all. There'll be a much shorter report. We only had 2 policies that we reviewed. There is actually a number of policies for old business that we had put through to 30-day review. But then for new business, there's 2 policies, 006, which is for meetings. And it was just, there'd been some updates to the Sunshine Act. And we just want to make sure that the wording was matching up with the new policy or the new laws for sunshine. For the second one, it was policy 819, which is suicide awareness, prevention, and response. The Pennsylvania School Board Association reviews and revived that policy to address the correlation between threat assessment teams and crisis response intervention teams when addressing suicide prevention and response. We reviewed what they had made the changes, and actually a lot of the meeting was going over some moving of parts of the policy around just to make it match up with other policies, and also for some grammatical fun. And that was it for that. So short and sweet. Thank you very much.
Any questions at all for that report out? Okay, thank you. Moving on to 13.5, the CIT Committee report. Mr. Voorhis is kind enough to make that report out for us.
Good evening, everyone. I will try to follow Mr. Lappick's lead and keep it as brief as possible for you. We only had one agenda item for our CIT meeting. That took place on November 14th. Although it was only one agenda item, it was a rather dense agenda item. It was all about our student data. You know how we love to talk about our students' progress. So Dr. Lucas and I shared the process that we follow throughout the district to collect information about where our students are academically, behaviorally, socially, emotionally, all that, all those different pieces. And then we use that information to make instructional decisions about how we're approaching things with curriculum for all of our students, or how we're approaching things with specific interventions and or enrichments for individual students as well. So this information is collected through 3 benchmark assessments that we do throughout the year. The assessments that are given during those benchmarks are nationally normed, and they come with predetermined cut scores. And that allows the district to monitor whether or not students are making those particular benchmarks at that time. If they're not, we have the opportunity to address that. And again, that could be a larger district-wide or grade-level kind of issue, meaning we need to address our curriculum. It could be more specific to an individual student that's not meeting the standard in that particular area. Or alternatively, it could be students doing quite well, and they need something else in terms of enrichment, in terms of what that looks like for them. So we reported out on our students. We finished our first benchmarking early on in the school year. The next benchmark will occur in January, at which time we then share what the growth looks like in between those time periods. And we typically report that out at both CIT as well as the board meeting as well. Mrs. McIntyre, did I miss anything? Or other Committee, Madam Mayor.
Not that I can think of. I appreciate it. Are there any questions from the board members? No? Okay. Thanks for doing that, as always.
course.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thanks. Okay, that brings us to new business, 14.1. Dr. Finnerty,
Nothing for me.
Jay, Patty.
Well, I did attend last night's Lower Pottsgrove concert, and there was between 130 and 130 and 140 students singing in the chorus. I mean, they all had the T-shirts on. They looked so sharp. The energy, I mean, you could feel in all of Pottsgrove. It was amazing. But again, it just always melts my heart to see how music, goes with the children, with the academics. And you would even see some of the kids, you could say, like, they don't like to sing. They were up there belting it out. They were belting it out. And, but it just shows, too, that our music program is outstanding. I mean, it is outstanding how they develop and they grow. And there were so many kids, too. I don't know how they even handled all of them. But it just shows that we're outgrowing. Like, what they couldn't fit the third, fourth, and fifth graders because they didn't have enough room for the third graders. That was another 40. So, so if you get a chance, I know we have a couple holiday concerts coming up. You got to go see the kids because it's just phenomenal. So that's all. And I just wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Tanya? Anik? Chuck? Jim? Bill? Ashley? Okay. So before I come to you, because I'm coming, I want to take a minute to say that I've always felt like it's a privilege to sit at this table, no matter where I've sat at this table. And it's been afforded to me by some of the members of the board here back in, 2018? And I'm grateful for that. And it's been afforded me by our community in different elections. And it really is a privilege to sit here with each of you. And over the years, I've continued to learn from you and serve alongside you. And I am so excited to do that again this year. And I'm excited to learn from our new board members because you're going to teach me a lot along the way. And I always learn from the rest of you. And I want to thank you for entrusting me with this position. It means a lot. And I look forward to serving with you this year. I'm excited about it. So thank you. Now, for the most important part of the meeting, how is school going?
Oh, okay. So I want to be a good sister right here, and my siblings, if they're watching this, they better be thanking me. But you should definitely go to the middle school concert because I know my sister plays 2 instruments. I don't know how she's doing it, but she's managing to play them both in the concert. So I'm very interested to see how the noise in my house is going to pay off. So we shall see. My siblings just tried out for jazz band, which means even more noise in my house. But I'm proud of them. I love them. Anyway, back on me, because, I can't talk about them for too long. But school's good. Break was really nice. I like being here, but I also like sleeping in. We have Keystones right now this week, which our 3-hour delay today was quite nice. But when I got home from school, I got accepted into my #1 college, which was kind of exciting. So I did a little happy dance when I got home and saw that. No, I'm good. The public, okay, all right. Well, it's University of Delaware. Now I'm sure I'm gonna walk into school in the morning. Everyone's gonna tell me thank you because that's what happened last board meeting that I said that, but it's okay. Anyway, I was very excited. My dad tried to open it for me, but I got home and opened it, and then we all got excited when siblings got home. But yeah, pretty much school's good. I'm looking forward to winter break and the rest of it. And now it's really real that I'm going to college, so that's kind of crazy, but yeah, that's basically it. Go ahead, Cecilia. You say it much shorter than I just said.
School's good. I like the 3-hour delays. Makes me very happy. I like all the events we have going on for school right now, and it's not just work and then break. It's work, fun, break. So I like that. I did like to say that student council has a lot more members than we did last year. I think last year we had maybe 14. Student council has maybe 25 to 30 now. So it's a lot, and it's way nicer, especially because my sister also joined. She finally found something that she joined, so that's nice. And I feel like a lot of clubs have more people in it, so I feel like the behavior actually has been better since my last report. Yeah, I feel like it's been better. So.
Thanks so much for sharing about your school day because, that's why I'm always going to say it. That's why I'm here. I want to hear about it. So thank you. We all want to hear about it. It's not just me. All right. We are to public comment 15.1. Do we have any comment from the audience? Anything online? Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. All in favor? Thank you. Good night, everyone.